Welcome to this special video where I'm going to go through some of the ways you can interact with TrainSimLive even when we're not broadcasting. So over the last few months I've set up various different social media sites and systems so that you can see what's going on and have your say. So let's start off with Twitch, which is the one that you can see right now. You can see the main channel, which is where the video will be displayed once the stream is running. Highlights is here. And you can use that to see some of the previous shows. I'll go in a minute, we'll go through and have a look where you can see the full list. And over here is the chat window. You just type messages in this box here to send messages into the chat, and then the chat will actually appear down here. If we scroll down a little bit, you can see this little icon here, which says theatre mode. If we click theatre mode, this is quite interesting, because if all you're doing is watching the stream and chatting, this is a really good way that makes full use of all of the available screen. And furthermore, if we press F11, you can actually make it go even more full screen than that. So press F11 again to pop back out, and then we can hover over the top left here just to get out of theatre mode. If we scroll down a little bit more, you can see some more information. So a lot of people ask me about what the tech is behind the stream, which is detailed here. Details about the controller hardware, my internet connection, who I am, why you want to watch me, and some various interesting links about the schedule and stuff. So there's plenty of interesting information and links on the profile panel here. Now, if we click on my username here, you can also get to all the information, all the historical broadcasts. So highlights are things I've specifically clipped out, and these go back to the beginning of the stream. So if you just keep scrolling down, more will appear. Up in the top left corner, it tells you how many people have viewed that particular highlight clip. And then past broadcasts is all the ones that are still on the system. So Twitch only keeps past broadcasts for a certain amount of time, and then they're removed. So if there's anything, if you miss a stream and you want to watch it the following day, you can see the entire stream unedited by going and finding the past broadcast for it. So that's basically Twitch. How do you know when you want to watch something on Twitch is the next question, and for that we have a schedule. So the schedule is hosted on Google Docs. I'm going to post all of the links for all of these resources into the description rather than cluttering the video up. So this is this week's schedule, and it actually goes down beyond that. So it's the 27th to the 31st of July, and then we've got the 3rd of August, the 7th of August. So as you can see, the schedule goes along quite a way down in terms of the way it's planned. However, it's highly likely that everything around here will be moved around. So it's meant to be a guideline rather than anything hard and fast. So this is today's stream. So you can see what's going to be on, and by the time I run the stream, all the durations should be filled in. So if you're only particularly interested in seeing this London to Peterborough scenario, then you'll be able to see, looking at the durations, roughly when to expect it to be on. Although I would say, for example, if during this scenario, 5 minutes in, we had a major problem with that scenario, then we would carry on and move to the next task here, the next segment here, which means that this scenario is going to be potentially much earlier than planned. So bear that in mind if what you're looking for is a particular bit, you might be recommended to show up just a bit earlier on, a fair bit earlier on, just in case we're running ahead of schedule or we have a change of some sorts. Before every stream, I will let people know what the plan is. So if the plan is refined and changed. So this is the current show plan, and this is meant to be a guideline for what's coming up. These black ones, I say DLC scenario, purely because quite often there are official releases on Steam on a Thursday, so what I do is block out a couple of places so that we can take a look at that release. If it comes out on a Wednesday, then I'll rejig the schedule, and I'll update the plan accordingly. And sometimes I might completely change it and spend the entire day doing it. So for a major route release that a lot of people really want to see, then I might just run that route and run 3 or 4 scenarios on that route. There's also the backlog. So this is my pool of scenarios that are not yet scheduled and will at some point be scheduled into the stream. So blue means English, British, yellow German, red American, and then I've got tutorials and other segments down the bottom here. So these are ones that I will just copy and paste onto the schedule when I want to set a new one up. So if you have written a scenario and you want to get it on this list, I'm going to show you how to do that very shortly. And then if you're interested in what's been run in the past, then this past tab down the bottom gives you access to a list of historically, goes back a fair way, the things that have been run in the past. So there's quite a lot there to look at, and you can see this will give you an idea also of maybe the stuff you might want to look for on YouTube, which we'll get to next. So yes, if you're looking to see this this scenario, if you were to look for the 6C1 on the KwaZulu-Natal corridor, then you might be able to find that scenario quite easily, actually. Okay, so that's the schedule. It's read-only, so you can't change it. However, you can use the Steam forums to make your recommendations and suggestions for what you would like to see on the stream, and then they go into the backlog, and then I take them from the backlog into the actual show broadcast plan, which is this one, which is where I'm actually trying to plan out what's going to happen. Before each stream, I'll then go through each of these, do a load test on each of them, make sure they all work. If anything doesn't work for me, then I'll swap it out and put something else in its place. That's the schedule. Right, YouTube. So on the YouTube channel, you can see everything that has been run with reasonable success. So even if I fail the scenario because I get a negative 10,000 score, which has been known, it will still get uploaded. If the scenario that I run on Twitch ends up with derailments or crashes of any sort, it will highly unlikely be uploaded to YouTube. So if you're looking for seeing that kind of thing, I try and avoid it anyway, but it doesn't get uploaded to YouTube. On YouTube, you're looking at finished examples. It's almost every scenario ends up getting uploaded to YouTube. And essentially what happens is if I run 3 scenarios, let's go back to the schedule here. So let's say this is 6 segments here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, I can count. Excellent. So I've got 6 segments. That will each be uploaded as 6 different scenario YouTube videos. So that if all you want to find later on is the ER20 freight to sell scenario on Hamburg Hanover, you don't have to watch through all the stuff that went before it or try skipping forwards and backwards. You just find the bit that you're interested in. So you get lots of different stuff there. There's also a range of playlists which aren't up to date, but I get them up to date soon for tutorial videos. Driving for UK, North American, and Germany. There's how to drive tutorials. So I do a series on the channel for how to drive various locomotives, get into the nitty-gritties of getting the best out of them. So particularly the more complex locos with startup sequences or more tricky behaviors. And if you've got any suggestions for locos that you're having problems with and you'd like to see more of, then we'll get to in a minute how you can make those suggestions. So that's YouTube. You've got the videos here. I mean, pretty much everything you would normally expect from YouTube is available on the channel, and you can see what's happening there. Okay, that's my hard hats recommended. The failure. Oh, locomotive ran out of water. That's an interesting little video. I quite enjoyed putting that one together. Perhaps didn't quite enjoy all the fails at the time, but it's always a good thing when you look back and then you have a good giggle at it. Okay, so Facebook. So there are a number of things that I put onto Facebook. So you'll get humorous bits and pieces, news and other information, and you'll see the route maps that get uploaded to that you see on the stream itself. So let's find one from Train Simulator. There we go. And I'll upload the whole route map. You can see actually on Facebook, so you can see the entire thing if you want to go back and see some of the different journeys that we undertook on the stream. And then the other thing I upload is I take various screenshots during the stream, so they all get uploaded to Facebook as well. I create albums called Twitch Stream Shots, as opposed to screenshots, and I put those up onto Facebook as well. So if you look in the album section, you can find lots of stuff there. This is the flight plan that we took from on our run along the Colorado River, last Friday's flight sim stream. So again, the Friday maps, I try and get the flight maps uploaded as well, along with screenshots. So it's you can see kind of what's going on there. If I've got any news that I want to get out, then I'll put that up onto Facebook. So it's a good place. If you're on Facebook, please make sure you have hit like on the TrainSimLive channel, and that way you'll stay up to date with the news, and you'll also be able to talk about the screenshots and what happened on the shows. It's also another good way to get your feedback to me about what you like and what you don't like about the channel. So next up is Twitter. So Twitter is all about news and getting information out to people. So it's so for example, there's a post here about how this week I'm going to be starting at the early time of 8 p.m. and then every time a stream starts, Twitch will automatically post out a message. Sorry, that's when a video gets uploaded, but there is also, when a stream starts, Twitch will also post the message out. I also try and remind you, everybody that's on the Twitter feed, about upcoming official channels, which I'm normally the host of, that are done on the official Dovetail stream. So, and the other thing I try and find is if there are any great deals going out, I try and just share any information I can find about good deals that will help you with train sim, flight sim, and so forth. So that's Twitter. Next up, the Steam group. So on the Steam group, if you hit the join group button, it'll add you into the mix. If you find that on the web or on Steam, when you go into here, the join group button says that you don't have permission to join, try it the other way around. So if you were on Steam when you got it, then try just going via your web browser. If you're on your web browser, find the group via Steam and do it that way. One or the other way causes a problem with permissions, and I have no idea what causes it, but the other works absolutely fine. So as you can see, we've got nearly 300 members now in the group, so it's growing quite nicely. So there's some links over here to common interesting things, announcements that have gone out in the past, and some of the top discussions going on at the moment. Under announcements, so if I've got any information or anything about changing about the channel, I'll generally post it in more detail on here. Discussions, so a number of things going on in the discussions. So there's a general discussion forum with lots going on, and one of the really interesting things is if you click here over on the suggestions section, then there is this scenario for TrainSimLive topic. And in here, this is where you should make your suggestions. So if you post a link to the scenario that or scenarios that you would like to see played on the Twitch stream, then I can see them all in one place. Now I've decided that this is the only place I'm going to accept suggestions and requests, because if I get them from 14 different places, they're gonna get forgotten or missed out, and this way they don't get forgotten. I can always come back to here and rerun through the list and say, have I done this, have I got this? And what happens is that they go from here and I copy them into the backlog, and then they'll go from the backlog into the show plan, and then they get run. So that's kind of the flow. If your recommendations are sent to me on a Facebook message, or even worse, you just type them into the Twitch chat, the chances are they're going to get forgotten. So don't do that, because I do want your recommendations and I don't want to miss any, because there have been some absolute cracking recommendations for scenarios, and I don't want to miss your suggestions and requests out. So if you can please post them into this this topic here, that would be very much appreciated. We've also got an FSX Steam Edition discussion group in here, and one of the things that's sort of particularly useful in here is under the multiplayer stream section. I posted information about how you find the server, details for TeamSpeak, linked so you can get the flight plans for the upcoming flights, and information on the software, the Plan G software that I'm using as well. And if you've got any more questions about the flights, or indeed the train stuff, then post them onto the discussion forums, and then I can try and answer those questions for you, or other people can answer them as well, of course. Events. So this is really neat. Basically, whenever I am about to start a stream, I will schedule an event on Steam in the Steam group. What happens is that at the time of the event, so normally 9:30 p.m. in the UK, when the stream starts, you'll get a little message pop up at the bottom right corner of your stream if you're not playing a game, or somewhere else if you're actually playing a game, just reminding you that the stream has started, which is a really good way of keeping a reminder. Sometimes the emails that come through from Twitch when you pressed follow don't actually come through for sometimes half an hour or an hour. Obviously, the email is not an immediate mail message delivery system. So if there's a problem in the mail link between the two, your Twitch and yourself, then it can be a while before you get the message. However, the Steam event notification, if I've set it to happen at 9:30, it will always happen at 9:30. So that is essentially the Steam group. I would definitely recommend that you try and get involved in the Steam group and make sure you put your requests for this scenario for TrainSimLive thread. Moving on, we have Flickr. So what do I do with Flickr? Basically, so I uploaded all of those screenshots to Facebook, but when I upload them to Facebook, I don't upload them with tremendously big quality. They're not set to be the full detail size because most people are glancing through them. There's not really the need to spend a lot of time uploading and use a lot of space and make it take more time for people to download super high detail images. All they want to do is just see the picture of a train. However, if you want to use those screenshots on the backdrop for your desktop, then you do want the high detail images. And I quite often, actually on most of my systems, I do have something called John's background switcher, which will link to Flickr, and it will just download images from Flickr and put them as your backdrop, which is really nice because I've set John's background switcher up on my machines so that it will download from my Flickr album, and you can do it as well. You can point a copy of John's background switcher back to my Flickr album, and then it will download the images and put them on your desktop. And if you've got multiple monitors, it can even put different pictures on different monitors, which is quite cute. So yes, this is basically all of the different images that are in there. So John's background switcher is just here. So if on John's Adventures website, download that. It's available for Mac and Windows, and you can do some really cool things with backdrops linking up to those Flickr libraries. Final one is Blogger. So I set up a blog on trainsimlive.blogspot.co.uk because a number of the tutorial videos were touching on complex topics, and it's really difficult trying to cover complex technical topics on a video stream live when, to be honest, probably the vast majority of the people watching the stream, it's just glazing them over and it's going right over their heads and they have no interest in it whatsoever. But I do still want to cover those complex topics. So what I thought I would do is set up this this blog, and you can see most of it is talking about scripting in Lua. So if we go back to the first article here, you can see getting started. So this is really about sort of some of the early discussions and so forth on getting Lua scripting working in scenarios. So I've tried to combine some videos, images with that, try and make it quite graphical, informative, as well as putting lots of actual code samples in there so that you can actually take that and run it and see how you get on with it. And it covers quite a wide range of topics. And as with anything, if there's any other topics you want me to cover, then do post a note into the Steam group so that I can make a note and not forget that I need to look into doing some of that. Some topics are a bit too complex. For example, some people have asked about how you script in engine scripts, and given everything you've got to do to get to the point that you can do an engine script, it feels like, if anything, I would have to start that from the beginning and teach everyone how to build a loco from scratch. Most people aren't going to want to do that, and most people wouldn't have the ability to do that. So it's that's a complex topic, and it's something I might touch on at some point, but it's low down the priority list. What I'm trying to do, my goal with TrainSimLive is to make Train Simulator more accessible, explain how things work, both from a user level and from a content creator level, so that we can get more interesting gameplay, more interesting scenarios and so forth out there, and then get everybody enjoying that those new types of gameplay. So that's basically everything. I hope that's been useful. Do leave a comment if there's anything that you think I've missed or that you'd like to see covered in some other form, or if you think that there's actually something I've missed in terms of well, why haven't you got a site on XYZ, and tell me about it, why it's great, and I will definitely go and have a look at that. Because one thing I've learned is that everyone's got their own way of their own preference for consuming various types of media. So Facebook is great for people like Facebook, but some people prefer Twitter, some people don't like either of them, and So it's really a question of finding where are the little pools of people, the big pools of people that I'm not getting in touch with. Right, that's it. Thank you very much, folks, and I will see you on the next video or stream whenever that is. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.